I'm the owner of a company that manufactures products popular among housewives. Despite the hustle and bustle of running a tight ship, I've come to appreciate the joy a mother-daughter duo have brought into my life over the past few years. It's quite embarrassing admitting this, given I've never mentioned it before, but I hope you all can make your own judgments on how I should proceed. I'm in my 40s and the company was established by my father. He experienced war and poverty, building the company from the ground up, step by step. Thanks to him, I was able to complete my graduate studies and marry a young and beautiful woman. However, my father recently had to step down from running the business due to Parkinson's disease, and the responsibility fell to me. Fortunately, I had been trained strictly as a manager, gaining experience from the bottom up under my father. When I first took over, our most popular product had a defect due to cheap parts. Many customers were applying for service after only a few months of use, so we decided to replace the parts with slightly more expensive ones. After doing so, we found that our products could be used without any problems for at least 5 years, and up to nearly a decade. From then on, our products gained enough competitiveness to be exported to multiple countries. My wife is a wonderful woman who takes great care of our children and manages our household well, but I feel sorry for her. Because I've been driving a lot since my father started receiving care at home, I had to visit dealerships across the country and factories, and there was a lot to do as an owner. It was a huge burden to drive alone, and I couldn't ask my father's driver, who was almost like a father to him, to drive my car, so I decided to hire a young driver. Like my father, our company has never hired employees based on recommendations. We posted a driver recruitment notice at intersections and flea markets, and to our surprise, we received applications from 50 people, likely due to our company's reputation. The final successful applicant was a 21-year-old lady. Let's call her Emily. Emily was able to start working immediately as she had been driving ever since she got her license right after high school. We could have chosen a healthy male driver, but there were no applicants with sufficient driving experience. For the first 2 weeks, Emily mainly drove around the headquarters and other places where she could work in a day. As time went on, she had to travel further for business trips. One day, we had a business trip to a region 3 hours away from the company. We gathered the presidents of the local dealerships for a meal, and then went to a karaoke bar for the second round. Emily said she would go back to her room to rest because she couldn't sing well and was tired. However, one of the dealership presidents said it would be a shame if we didn't drink on such a day and suggested we drink. We all ended up drinking at the karaoke bar and had a great time. Emily and I had booked separate rooms, but she stayed at the karaoke bar, keeping an eye on me. After finishing all the events and heading to the hotel, Emily said, "Boss, you look so handsome today. It must be great to have everything like you do." At that moment, I understood Emily's intentions, and we ended up together in my room. Emily was incredibly adorable, and as she was the one who gave me my first taste of this experience, I felt a particular need to take good care of her. After a well-deserved rest, I woke up in the early morning, went about my day as if nothing happened. That day, I realized just how different the energy of young blood can be. Emily found the experience challenging as it was her first time, but she seemed genuinely happy to be working with me, which made me feel a sense of endorphin release. We finished our schedule in a different region, and naturally spent the evening together in one room. Emily and I managed the busy 4-night, 5-day schedule smoothly. As we became increasingly in sync, Emily and I grew closer, and I decided that I would support her in any way I could if she needed help. One day, Emily asked, "Boss, my mom has been looking for work lately. Are there any job openings at the company?" It turned out that Emily's mom had raised Emily alone and was feeling lonely at home now that Emily had a job. When I asked what kind of work her mom was good at, she mentioned that her mom had run a restaurant before and was so good at making side dishes that the neighbors suggested she open a side dish store. I thought I could assign her to kitchen chores for the time being, especially since our kitchen manager had recently resigned due to illness. Emily's mom came in for an interview, and she looked a few years older than me. But she seemed very healthy, diligent, and hardworking, so I had faith in her. I decided to call Emily's mother, Auntie, and she was thrilled to be in charge of a respectable company's cafeteria. The cafeteria became vibrant with Auntie's cooking, and more people started using the cafeteria because the food was better than before. I decided to give Auntie a bonus when I had the chance. Wanting to spend more enjoyable time with Emily, I arranged for her to use the small room next to my office. The sign on the door read "Driver's Waiting Room," and only Emily used it. I also had a bed and a sofa delivered after all. The employees had left for the day, thinking Emily couldn't drive well if she was tired. But the room served a different purpose. Whenever I thought of the fresh Emily, I ended up in that room without fail. No one among the employees could enter the room. Emily did the cleaning herself, so there was no need for a cleaning lady to enter. While I considered buying a small room nearby to maintain a good relationship with Emily, I accepted Emily's opinion that she was afraid of the neighbors' eyes. But one day, Auntie tried to ask me something, but I couldn't answer the phone because I was making love with Emily. Auntie came up to my room to find me, and she found out that her daughter and I were involved. Auntie came to see me again before leaving work that evening. Auntie asked, "It seemed like something was going on in the driver's waiting room earlier. I heard your voice, am I right?" I wanted to deny it, but Auntie beat me to it. "I've been living without a man, but watching you, I felt so secure. Can I meet you too?" she said. That night, I became one with Auntie. Auntie cried, shaking her shoulders with joy, saying it was so thrilling to be in a man's arms after such a long time. Seeing Auntie crying sadly, saying she had done everything to raise her daughter, I felt sorry for her. Moreover, she expressed that she felt a warmth that she hadn't experienced with her ex-husband, and suggested that we continue to see each other for a long time. The driver's waiting room became a place shared alternately by Emily and Auntie, and I found myself unable to refuse either of them. Over the course of 3 years, Emily ended up getting married. When she got a boyfriend, she brought him to me, and I maintained a facade of indifference while treating them to a meal. Just before her wedding, Emily made a request to me. She pledged to serve me even during her married life. This was not just in her capacity as a driver, but also in other ways. I told her to focus on her husband, but she insisted that wasn't possible. A few months later, Emily became pregnant. Internally, I was worried and asked her if everything was all right. She assured me there was no cause for concern, as she had been very careful about her cycle and hadn't met with me on risky days. I was impressed by her meticulous self-management. When Emily became pregnant, Auntie stepped up, spending nearly every day with me and making our time together enjoyable. Both mother and daughter seemed to greatly appreciate my healthy physique. The two of them were adorable, and their presence allowed me to focus on my work, making it inevitable that I would reciprocate their loyalty. I must confess, it's no exaggeration to say that Emily is with me almost all day. However, Emily is unaware that I'm also in a romantic relationship with Auntie. How would Emily feel if she found out that her mother, who has been living alone for so long, has been spending enjoyable time with me, especially after discovering her own relationship with me? Emily is soon to give birth. After childbirth, I plan to make adjustments so she can comfortably work while staying close. My commitment to take responsibility for these two loyal women remains unwavering,